I failed in business and love at my big age. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Crystal and this is Becoming Crystal Clear. And today I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of an informal video. I think it's super important to understand why I really started this YouTube channel and, the journey I'm currently on that I want to share with you guys through my experiences. So maybe someone out there might be going through the same thing and can learn or even just get inspiration from what's going on with me. But if you want to hear how I failed in business and love at my big age, keep watching. Now, normally, I think everyone has this idea that by a certain age, you should have already been married, have kids, bought a house, figured out your career. And it's kind of what's been taught to us, ever since we were young. So getting to the point where I was in my 30s and realizing that I had nothing. I didn't have a career. I didn't have a steady relationship. I didn't have, the goals that I'd set out for myself. I think it was super scary. And starting over when you think you should have already been at a certain point can definitely scare you. But I really wanted to take you through, how I've gotten to this point where I realize my goals, my journey in my life isn't based on some statistics. It's based on me. And, you can start over at any point in your life. That's the whole point of life. It's meant to be experienced. You're meant to learn and you're meant to grow from your experiences. So it started out, I was in the military. And when I did join the military, I was in my 20s. My goal was to really just retire. I saw the path to actually be able to get into something where I could grow, but also set up myself for retirement. I joined pretty young, so retirement was going to be around 40. But quickly I realized the military wasn't something I wanted to do long term. It really was just a stepping stone for me to learn something, get some experience, pay for college, which was super important for me at the time, and be able to move on to something else. So I left the military and that was my first big change. Because if you've left school and then joined the military, it's kind of a cushion, right? It's not as scary as going out into the world by yourself, even though people think the military is scary. But you have to think they provide housing, food, a steady paycheck. It's really just something else that's very consistent. But making the decision to, step away from the military was my first scary decision I'd made in my life. Fast forward to me being in the civilian world, figuring out what I want to do. I finished college, got my degree, and I wasn't doing anything in my degree. And a lot of people experience this. You get a degree and then you're like, okay, the degree is going to give me what I want, but I didn't do anything in my degree. I got a degree in electrical technology, didn't really do anything with it. But at least I didn't have any student loan debts. And that's really what I was kind of straying away from. So I took on a couple positions, realized some were not really going to take me anywhere. I started a job that sounded super fancy. I think a lot of the times we tend to take positions where, if we're talking to our friends and family, it sounds really good, but it's not going to bring you anywhere. I remember being in a job like that and realizing, it wasn't going to help me grow or take on any real challenges. So one day decided to quit out of the blue. So I left that job and I was now in a position where I was back on the job market, trying to figure out what I was going to do again. And I came across an opportunity to be able to get into the world of entrepreneurship, which was super important for me at the time because I was in that phase where I was looking into real estate. I was looking into investing, possibly starting my own business. And this opportunity gave me the chance to get mentors, go through, something where I could actually get trained to understand how to do it. So I was super excited about it. At the time, I was in a long-term relationship that didn't work out. And I felt like everything was falling apart at the time. So I lost my job. Well, I quit my job. I decided to take on another feat to learn about entrepreneurship and grow. But I was always also struggling in my relationships as well. So I decided, why not just focus on my career? The relationship will come afterwards. So that's what I did. I dived headfirst into that. And I was pretty successful for my first 2 years. And a lot of people don't tell you, being able to get into business, it's a roller coaster. Being an entrepreneur, every day is not guaranteed. You have to work for those guaranteed, and you're constantly working as well. It's a 24-hour, 7 days a week kind of thing. But I was determined to be successful. So I decided to really just pour my heart and soul into it. And after 4 years of doing it, I sadly had to shut my business down. And in that moment, I realized not only did I have no real connections with anyone, my, relationship life and love life kind of sector of me had completely taken a downfall. So I neglected actually connecting with people. I neglected myself. I feel like I lost myself in my work. Didn't really know who I was. Apart from my business, apart from what I was doing. And I felt lost. I was completely lost at the time. And being able to admit to yourself that it's time to, turn in the towel and give up, it's scary. Working for something for 4 years and having to walk away from it, it feels like a failure. And in that moment, I felt I'd failed all my mentors, everyone that had worked with me to get to that point. But I also realized no one really knew the struggles I was going through personally. Being able to juggle my time, juggle, a failing business, and really just neglecting me and my health. No one knew me outside of just work. So I decided to shut everything down. I lost everything in that process. And this is where I felt like I'd officially hit rock bottom, didn't know where left or right was going to be. And being able to start over in your 30s is really scary. You're thinking at this point, I should have already figured it out. I should have already had a family. And these are the times where you start looking at your peers, your friends, people who are in the same industry you're in that's doing really well and are really successful. You start to, compare yourself. And I did fall into that. I fell into a deep hole of wondering, why me? I did all the work, but why didn't it work out? What was I doing wrong? And I started blaming myself. But then after really just, reaching out to family and friends that really cared, that I'd neglected for so long because I was so focused on becoming the successful person, I started to reconnect, not only back with my family and friends, but also with myself as well. And realizing, if something's meant for you, it probably shouldn't be that hard. And making the decision to lose everything, because I was losing it. I think I just came to the realization that I just need to accept it. But making the decision to actually let go of everything and really falling back into a place where I could discover myself again was one of the scariest, but also the best things I could have done for me, which brought me to this point where I feel like I should share my story, but also, the things that I've been doing to be able to grow and improve on myself and slowly find my way back to me. And in doing that, finding what my purpose is, what I'm meant to do. And that process, it's scary, it's beautiful, it's painful. But I wanted to be able to, create this channel for women that, are in their 30s, starting over. But, as I said, I really wanted to start this channel to share my journey in, finding what I'm meant to do, what I'm meant to be, but doing that in a way where I can find myself again. And being able to start over, it really starts with you, not really knowing what to do, but kind of centering yourself and coming back to you and then finding what you're meant to do. And as I said, a woman in your 30s, a lot of the times you have this list of things that you're supposed to have already accomplished, and not being able to accomplish that in a certain amount of time can put us in the wrong headspace, can put us in a place where, we're feeling negative, we're feeling like, it's over. But it really is a beautiful thing, because you really get to reinvent yourself. You get to become the person you were meant to be by reflecting back on you, the things you've done in the past, what you're meant to do to move forward. And it is a process. So I really just wanted to share that so you guys can, hear more about me, why I wanted to start this channel, why I wanted to start this community, to really just connect with people who feel like maybe you're just in a place where you feel like you should be further along, but you're not. But that's not what you're meant to be doing right now. And I'm going to share different things on this channel where it might just seem like we're just self-obsessed, but it's more of finding yourself, glowing up from within, building that new mentality, that new version of you through understanding how to take care of yourself, how to dress, different things like journaling, focusing on your health, staying physical. All of these things really just bring you back to your center so you can understand who you are and where you're meant to go from where you are now. But if that sounds like you, and if you want to be a part of the community, hit that subscribe button, share, like, and even leave a comment. Let us know where you are in your journey and what's resonated with you so far. But I'm excited to see how, big our community grows, but also how many people we can touch along the way to realize that it doesn't matter what age you are, and it doesn't matter if you want to start over, you can reinvent yourself a million times. But I look forward to seeing you guys on this journey. So until the next video, bye guys.